Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mark Randall with GoldenCare, and welcome to today's webinar, Welcome to Internet Selling. If you have questions today, I've muted everybody because I'm recording. Please just press *6 to unmute yourself and ask a question, and then press *6 again to mute yourself. Today, as we go through this is kind of an introductory course to Internet selling. If you have been Internet selling and I bore you a little bit in the beginning, I apologize for that. But I'll tell you what, Internet selling is really ramping up out there. There are a lot of agents that, as we're facing higher gas prices, time crunches, etc., are thinking and realizing how efficient Internet selling can be. And I'll tell you what, when you think about Internet selling, make sure you think about it accurately. You know, a lot of people, when they say, why should I get on the Internet, they automatically think of gas. But if you think about it, if you're averaging 500 miles a week, you average 25 miles per gallon, you're spending about $3,500 a year on gas. I always hate it when agents complain about the cost of gas because they go, it's not that big a factor when you look at your overall year in comparison. When I think of Internet selling, what I think about is time. Because if you're driving that 500 miles a week and you're averaging in-town, out-town 40 miles per hour, you're spending 12 and a half hours a week driving. And if I multiply that out times 50 weeks, I'm looking at the fact that it's costing me 78 days a year to drive. You know, that 78 days a year is the equivalent of 15.6 weeks a year. Imagine if you had an extra 15 weeks a year to go selling. That's the key to me when we talk about Internet selling. More than anything else, that's what makes me sold on this concept. There are other advantages, of course. First of all, when you get into Internet selling, you have no geographical limits whatsoever. You can work from anywhere. You can work from your home, from a cabin, from a boat, anywhere you want to work from, you can make it happen out there. Especially with today's earpieces and cell phones, you know, you've got the capability now to pretty much sit anywhere and nobody's going to know you're there. Second advantage is you can sell anywhere. You know what? All of a sudden, the entire United States is open to you, which opens up a ton of opportunities to you. You know, one of the problems we have in Minnesota here is we have our career shop here. We've been selling long-term care in this market for 20-some years. If I look at the overall Minnesota market, 35% of the people that have bought long-term care insurance have bought it through our agency. And we have one of the highest penetration rates in the entire nation. You know what? Needless to say, that results in higher lead costs. To me, a huge advantage of Internet selling is I can concentrate in areas of the nation that I don't have as much competition out there. Instead of settling for a 0.5 to 0.75% lead drop, I can go out there and still get a 2 to 3% return on my leads. So that's a tremendous opportunity. Another opportunity is with shops like ours. I'm not trying to take you away from where you're at right now, but if you're an independent broker out there and you're experienced selling long-term care, give us a call and talk to us. We've got a new opportunity coming up that we have an association we're working with that the leads are awesome, and we can allow you to keep your current contract and continue to sell on your own, but you simply work under a different contract when you're working our leads. If you're experienced, you know what you're doing here, give your RD a call and talk to them about this. It's not happening immediately, but it's going to happen in the very near future here. Those are the type of opportunities that are going to open up once agents get more involved in Internet selling out there. The differences between Internet selling and selling like we do right now is a little bit. You know, first of all, your phone and your computer are now going to become your primary tools. You have to realize that you're going to have to average 3 to 6 hours a day on the phone. That's going to be your big tool for getting a hold of people, and you're going to get really good on computers. I don't care what kind of skill level you have on computers right now. When you get into this market, you're going to get good on them because you're going to start using them more. You have to establish trust and a relationship with your client a little bit differently when we talk about Internet selling versus sitting across the table from somebody. And one of the things that's tough for some agents is you have to learn to use visuals. It's tough to give a presentation when you're just talking and they're not looking at anything. You know, the fact of the matter is that if they're in the house, they're at least looking at you, so that way you can, through your body language, keep them entertained a little bit. But when you're over the phone and over the internet, you got to have something for them to look at because they can think a lot faster than you can talk. And they're going to get bored pretty quickly if you're just sitting there trying to tell them a story and you don't have anything to go with it. So there are the three major differences that we're looking at out there. But let me tell you something. You can't afford not to get into internet selling. I know it's going to be a little uncomfortable at first. I know there's a learning curve involved here. You're going to have to improve your computer skills a little bit. It's maybe not for everybody, but with all that said, here's the bottom line. If you can sell in the home, you can sell over the internet. I just had an agent that moved over from in-the-home selling into the internet selling, and he was a little bit spooked at first, and I knew he was a good agent. I said, something, Daryl, just relax, get on the phone, do it like you do in the house. Well, when he finally went to work, he wrote 7 apps his first week. He came back and said, you know what? I like this kind of selling. I got a brand new agent that I just started in internet selling this week, and he's written 5 apps already. The fact of the matter is, if you can sell in the home, you can sell over the internet. There isn't that much difference, except you're saving time and you're making yourself more efficient. In order to get started selling over the internet, there are some things you have to do. Number one, we have to take some steps to establish credibility here. Number two, establish trust. Number three, get all our sales tools put together. Number four, you got to learn to use Join Me, which is a free website that you can use to share your connection with the client. And then number five, you got to look at which products are you going to market out there. So today, this is the steps that we're going to look at and we're going to discuss. The first thing we need to do is to get that establishing trust, credibility. We need to get our sales tools put together. And to do that, we need 5 groups of things. We need a presentation, a website, letterhead and business cards, applications, brochures, and sales material. So let's start out taking a look at this. The first thing you need is a personalized presentation. This isn't something that you absolutely have to have, but I'll tell you what, it'll make selling a lot easier if you have one. The purpose of the personalized presentation is it's going to be a normal consumer presentation that the second slide, you're going to have some pictures of you and your spouse, and you and your family. When I put together personalized presentations for my agents, I like, number one, to have a headshot. Just a single headshot of you so that I can actually cut out the head and put it on every single slide. Then I'd like a shot of you in the headshot to start out that slide. Then I want a shot of you and your spouse. Then I also want 4 to 5 pictures that are just pictures you want to share. That kind of depends on you. I've got one agent out there that he's highly professional. He wants to put out that real professional image out there. Every single picture he's got, he's in a suit or he's accepting a reward or he and his wife are at a convention, etc. I got another agent out there that he likes to spend a lot of time with his kids. So all of his pictures are he and his spouse and the kids on vacations or on trips somewhere that they're all together doing things, You know what? Whatever you feel cool with. The last picture I want to show to the client is a full family picture. Because this page is really important in the presentation. This is where I'm showing the client, here's who I am. This is me. This is my family. Here's what we do normally. The whole story about myself. I don't care how much time you take on this slide. I like to take my time because I like my client to know I'm a real person. I'm not somebody you need to be scared of because I'm sitting out there over the phone. I'm somebody that's just like you. I got my own family. I do things with my own family, etc. I think that the personalized presentation is a very important part of internet selling out there. Now, in order to get this all set up and going, the first thing I want you to do is when you get done with the presentation here today, send an email to info@goldencareusa.com. That's info@goldencareusa.com and order a copy of the consumer presentation. We'll send you a copy of the consumer presentation by email, and when you receive it, okay, just click on the attachment and right-click it and say Save As, save it onto your desktop. Then go to your desktop and set up a folder called Pres Tools. There's a reason I'm telling you the exact name I want you to set it up for that I'll explain to you later. But all you have to do that is go to your desktop. Now, if you're going, I have no clue what my desktop is. Watch what I'm doing here. I'm escaping out of my presentation here, and then I'm going to go click on the desktop. That's my desktop right there. When you open up your computer, that's what you normally are going to go to, is to your desktop. All I want to do is right-click on it, okay, and I want to go down here to New Folder, okay. Then it's going to pop up a little folder that I can name, and then I'm going to name it Pres Tools. Now, since I already have a Pres Tools on mine, I'm going to name mine too, and hit the Enter key, and bang. This is the folder then that from now on I'm going to save everything to. When I have an email come in with an attachment, I'm going to right-click on the attachment. I'm going to double-click here. I'm going to go put it over here and bang, bam, paste. Okay? So I can save it right in here, no problem. When I want to go back to my presentation, I'm going back to right here. And in order for me to get this going, I got to go up here to View, Full Screen. Okay, and I'm right back to my presentation. Notice that I'm showing you this because this is something that's important to get used to when I'm doing internet selling. Right now, though, let me just tell you, use Presentation Tools, that new folder you set up, to dump all of the sales materials in. That way you know there's one spot in your computer that you have everything you need for internet selling. By the way, when you order a copy of this presentation, that's why I'm going into detail on these slides, so you got this to look back at and make sure you understand what I told you to do. There are several ways that you can do a presentation over the internet. The first way you can do it is you can use a program called PowerPoint Viewer. The second thing you can do is show it from a PDF file. And the third thing you can do is you can use Microsoft PowerPoint itself. Okay, on your desktop, you're going to have an icon for your presentation when I send it to you. But you have to make sure that you tell me what type of presentation you need when you order it, so I don't send you one that you're going to get and it isn't going to work for you. So take a second and just listen to what I'm talking about here. First of all, if you do not have PowerPoint in your computer, now to tell if you have PowerPoint in your computer, you just go to the Start button. When it comes up, go to All Programs, and then scroll down and see if you have Microsoft Office. If you do, click on it, and then see if PowerPoint is listed. If PowerPoint is listed, then you got it. If it's not, you got to use an alternative method. One method to use is PowerPoint Viewer. If you use PowerPoint Viewer, you need to go to that link that's on that slide and click on it. It's going to bring you to the page at Microsoft to download the PowerPoint Viewer. Download the viewer and install it on your computer. Just follow the instructions, okay? If you're really lost in computers, get your kid or your next door neighbor or some kid you know around the block and have them come over and help you with this. Just give them $10 and they'll come over and help you in a heartbeat, okay? It doesn't take that long to do this stuff. Then when you double click on the presentation, it'll automatically start in a slideshow view. If you click anywhere on the slide, it'll advance to the next slide. The disadvantage of using Viewer is if you want to move to another program, you can't do what I just did, which is simply escape out of full screen and see all my stuff at the bottom of the page here. These are all the programs I have open right now. If I am sitting there and I'm using PowerPoint Viewer, I've got it in the full screen mode. And the only way I can get out of it is I have to push my Alt key down and hold it down with my thumb. Then with my finger, I'm going to push the Tab key one time. Now you notice what happened on your screen right now is it opened this little window right here. And that little window, if I push the Tab key again, it moves to this program, tells me what program I'm opening. This one, there's my libraries, there's my GoToWebinar, there's my PowerPoint, and I can go to any program I want to, and once I get to that program, I simply let my finger up. I'm going to go to PowerPoint here, and boom, there's my PowerPoint. If I want to go back, I can just push Alt-Tab, and I'm right back in my full screen mode. Alt-Tab is going to have to be something that you kind of get used to working with. So if you're new to computers, just remember, push the Alt key down, push the Tab key once with your other finger to bring up the window, and then once to move it around. Okay, the second way to use a presentation is to do what I'm doing right now. And that is I'm using it in a PDF format. In a PDF format, you should already have Adobe Reader on your computer. So when you order this presentation in PDF, I send you the PDF file, you save it to your desktop. When you double click on it, it'll automatically open up an Adobe Reader. Now, it won't look exactly like my program because I use a little bit different program for this, but basically you'll have all the stuff up on top here, and then your slide will be shown right in the middle here. Then go up and click on View. View might not look the same on your computer, but it's going to be View. And then go to full screen mode, and bang, you're in your presentation. I can either use my page down button, my scroll bar, or I can just click on there to move to the next slide. The neat thing about Adobe is if I want to, I can run it in this mode right here. This is where I got my slide, my scroll bar and everything else, and it has all my taskbar programs down here at the bottom. Because as you're going to see, you're going to want to have a few programs open when you start internet selling. Now, if you're not good at computers, do me a favor, don't panic on me. Just sit and watch this. You'll see that it's not near as tough as you're thinking that it's going to be. Third option is if you have PowerPoint, then I want you to open up your PowerPoint program, go to the Help button, and find the version that you have. So what you're going to do is open the program, click on the Help at the top of the screen, then a little window is going to open up, and go click on About. When you click on About, it'll open up and say, here's the version of PowerPoint you're running. You'll see that typically you'll be running 2003, 2007, or 2010. When you are ordering the presentation, tell me which version of PowerPoint you have. Because if you have 2010, that's a different concept than it is in the earlier versions, and I want to make sure that I get you the right version. Now, if you use PowerPoint, I'm going to go to PowerPoint. Here's what the program looks like when I open up my presentation. Remember that I don't want to show my presentation looking just like this. I want to push the F5 key, and that puts it in slideshow mode. Then once I'm in slideshow, I can just click and go to the next slide. And I got a lot of advantages in slideshow mode because I can go right click, I can go down to pointer options, and I can say, give me a pen. And I can sit there and go like this and circle things or do whatever I want to do. The disadvantage is if I want to move to another program, I have to use Alt-Tab. Or if I use the Escape key and I drop this down to the regular program here, to get the slide back up, I have to go down here to the bottom and find that little button down there that says slideshow. See where my mouse is down at the bottom of the screen? Now when I hit slideshow, that'll bring it right back up to that slide right there. I use View inside of PDF files simply because to me it doesn't crash as much. Okay, this is a lot better program because it's smoother, it's easier, etc., in my opinion. So there's your 3 ways that you can give the presentation. Make sure that you order the right one so you get it. Once you get the presentation, the next thing you're going to need is you're going to need a website. Don't get hung up here, and don't please go running out and spend a whole bunch of money on a website. You know, you can go to LTC Connections, buy a website there, which is actually an excellent deal. Or if you want to, you can just set up your own site and use a very simple site. Just go down, go to GoDaddy or anything like that, and rent a site. You can rent them for about $30 a year most of the time. And once you get that site, you just need a one-page web page. You want a picture on there, okay? Take one of your pictures from the personalized presentation, or if you're not using the personalized, put 4 to 5 pictures on here. And then put a bio on there that's 2 to 3 paragraphs long. You know, don't put a bio on there. We had one agent put a bio that was 1 sentence, okay? 1 sentence isn't telling the client anything about you at all. Give them enough information. Here's what I did before I got insurance. I entered insurance here. I spent years with this company, etc. And now I got specialized in long-term care insurance. Tell a client a little bit about your background. Then say, I've been married to my wife for 35 years. We have 2 great daughters. We have 6 grandkids by our 2 daughters and 2 by our adopted daughter. And, just kind of give them information about yourself so that they have a little inkling of who you are. The website's job is to establish credibility for you. So if you want to brag yourself up, here's the spot to brag yourself up. If you set some records out there, tell the client. People like buying from successful people, so don't be thinking that you're going to turn people off by that. They want to know if you're doing good at what you do. Then remember that you already have a website at the MyLTC Cash website. If you want to, right on this page, then put a link to your MyLTC Cash website, which would be www.myltccash.com/your United Omaha agent number. That will bring them to a personalized site that is a generic site about long-term care insurance. This is a site that they can go to, and they can find out anything they want to know about long-term care insurance, get educated about it, the whole package. And it will give you, again, more credibility and more creation of need as you're going along. You can link to that site if you want to, and your name and address or name and contact info will be right at the top of that site, and your client can go through and get some more info then. Okay, business cards, letterheads, not mandatory, but remember, you'll be communicating a lot by mail here. So you want to make sure that you get something that looks fairly decent here you can send out to clients. Then if it comes down time to the application, you got to figure out, how am I going to fill out the application? Whether or not I'm going to use an online application, I at least want one so that I can show my client it over the internet. So go to the website at the top of this page, click on it, and download an application for each state that you're going to sell in. Okay? Save it on your desktop or in your Pres Tools folder that I shared you. If you're computer literate and you're very good on computers, send me an email and ask for online application signature training for DocuSign, and I'll send you out a training outline. You can go through it to see if this is something that you want to do with your client. If so, we can pursue that further. Otherwise, your options for filling out the application are going to be threefold, and all of them have good concepts in them. Then order your brochures and any other materials that you want from supplies. Remember to request a soft copy. Tell them you're going to be selling over the internet, so you don't want to get brochures mailed to you. You want to get the brochure in an email so that you can show it to clients on the computer. Save all of the supplies they send you on your desktop or in the Pres Tools folder. Then the program that we're going to use to do internet selling is called Join Me. At first, you're going to think this is a really tough program to learn. It's the easiest program you ever saw, and it's free. You can't beat it when you get a free chance to do something and you don't have to worry about any costs there. Okay, when you go to Join Me, you have to make sure that you do it right. When I'm sending a client to join me so they can watch me give a presentation, I'm going to tell them, open up the browser that you use for the internet. And that first question someone asks is, what's a browser? And I'm going to say, okay, how do you get on the internet? Well, I double-click this icon. Double-click that icon for me. Okay? Now, when they double-click that, your internet browser came up. That's what's called a browser, by the way. And way up at the top of that browser, do you see a little window or box up there that it might say Google in it, or it might say some other words, but it'll be www. That's what's called the address bar up there. Go up there to that address bar and click once inside of it. When you clicked inside of it, it should have highlighted everything inside that box. Push your backspace key, and that will erase everything. Then type in join.me. Don't type in www. Don't type in .com. Just type in join.me. And when you get done, hit your enter key. Now, when they do that, that's going to bring them to the Join Me website. And then I'm going to tell them, okay, now you see on the Join Me website down there, there's two boxes, one that says share and one that says join. Here's the scoop. You're going to use, as the agent, the share box. They're going to use the join box, okay? So I'm going to tell my client that when you see this, okay, here's what you're going to do. But now I'm going to tell you guys what to do. When you guys go over here to the share one, don't let the pro trial go. Click down here in the basic, okay? When you click on the basic, then you start the download. Now, when it starts downloading, it might say, should I run this or should I save it? If it says, should I run this, just go, yeah. Okay, click on that arrow, get it started. Now, if it doesn't say that, it's going to open up and ask you where you want to save the file. What you want to do is you want to go up there and click on desktop right here on the left. See where my mouse is? And then click save. Notice the name of the file is join.me.exe. Okay, so if I have to save it, I'll save it right in the desktop and I'll run it from there. Otherwise, again, if you have the option to run it, click on the run it, okay? Once I double click on the program to start my thing, or it runs by itself, it's going to take a few minutes and then all of a sudden the dashboard is going to show up on my screen. And that dashboard is going to give me the 9-digit number that I need to give to my client so they can see my screen. So what I'm going to do to the clients is I'm going to say, okay, you see, keep in mind one thing, I'm going to set this up before I'm even getting on the phone. So I'm going to have this up. I'm going to have that 9-digit number up in the top of my screen, all ready to go. So if I talk to somebody that wants a presentation right now, I'm ready to give it to them. I'm going to tell them, go up to the top of your browser screen and type in join.me. Hit your return key. Now you see where that little window opened up and one side says share and one side says join? Yep. Okay, see that little green box underneath the join? Click in there. Okay, is your icon or is your cursor blinking in there now? Yeah. Type in and give them the 9-digit number. When they get done, tell them now click that green arrow. Once they do that, I'll be notified that a participant has joined. And the bottom line is, we're screen sharing right there. Okay, anything that I have on my screen, they can see, just like what's happening right now with you guys. Anything on my screen, you're going to be able to see. So don't have embarrassing things sitting on your screen, okay? When I'm done with the presentation, I can go down here to that X, click on it. It'll say, do you want to exit? I can go, you bet, and boom, it's done. So Join Me is real simple because once I'm on there, anything I have on my screen, my client can see. So when I'm giving a presentation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my presentation opened up on my computer. I'm going to have a fillable application opened up. I'm going to have my brochure opened up. I'm going to have my rating software opened up. Anything else I might want to show the client is going to be open on my computer, so all I have to do is move between them, either using the taskbar or using the Alt tab. That's the whole key to internet selling. Don't be fumbling around when you're talking to a client. Get everything open and know how to move back and forth between programs, and things are simple out there. Okay? Then remember that I'm going to do this just like I'm going to do in the home presentation. I'm going to start out when I'm talking to my client, and I'm going to question their health a little bit. Okay? You know, long-term care insurance isn't for everybody. You know, this is a policy that's kind of hard to get, actually. So before I get going here today, just so I don't bore you with things you didn't need to know, can I ask you, how's your health been? Pretty good? Yeah. Have either one of you been in the hospital for the last 5 years? Yeah? Dad, what were you in the hospital for? Oh, you had a heart attack a couple years ago, huh? Did you come through it okay? Yeah. Do you have any residual heart damage? No? Good. Are you on any meds right now because of that? Yeah, they got you on Topro. Okay. Okay. All right. How about Mom? Are you taking any meds right now? And I'm going to go through their meds real quick. When I do the health qualifying questions, I'm going to qualify my client to find out, number one, do I even have a prospect for long-term care? If I get a client that's not going to qualify for long-term care insurance, why would I go through an entire interview with them and then find out at the app they're not going to qualify? You know, I want to find out right now if they're going to qualify. If not, I'm going to pivot to critical care. I know that critical care will pick up about 90+% of the clients that I can't get long-term care for. So the bottom line is I want to make sure I can pivot over there very easily. Okay. If I find my client qualifies for long-term care, it's going to tell me what company maybe I should submit it with. You know, companies vary in their underwriting and long-term care, and what might be acceptable to one company may not be to another company. The second thing I want to do is I want to do a little bit of financial qualifying. You know, it'd be nice if we could do the suitability form like we do in the house, but unfortunately, doing a suitability form over the phone sometimes is getting a little bit too personal. But I have to figure out a way to get the client to let me have some idea of what their finances are. One method a lot of agents use, they'll just ask, you know what? Again, we don't advise long-term care to everybody out there. We typically want people that have assets to protect. Do you have over $50,000 of assets over and above your house? Yeah. Do you have any money in retirement plans, real estate, other assets, you know? You know, not only does this qualify for long-term care insurance, but it also gives you an idea of the potential premium you should be shooting at them. Another way to do this is the way that's time-tested in our industry, and that is to say, if you needed care tomorrow and it was going to run you $45,000 a year, how long could you guys afford to pay out of your own pocket? You know, that's a nice, easy way to get around figuring your mind about what the client's worth out there. Basically, I want to make sure I got them health qualified and financial qualified before I go into the presentation. When I'm using the presentation, remember, use the picture slide to establish credibility. Take your time. A lot of new agents think they're boring the client, so they rush through the picture slide. I go, don't rush through that. You know what? That's your one chance to really establish credibility or use it. You know, go through, tell them a little bit about each picture. Don't make it last 30 minutes, you know, but spend a good, strong couple minutes on it. Then remember, as you're giving the presentation, check their oil. I want to make sure that they're involved here because I can't see them, you know. So I want to make sure that I'm asking them, hey, do you understand what I'm saying on this slide? And keep them participating in the presentation so I don't lose them. I have to laugh because one of the agents that are very successful selling long-term care over the internet told me a story, and he said, tell you what, Mark, before every presentation, I tell the people, here's the deal. Remember that we're talking to each other over the phone and the internet here. I can't see you. So if I ask you a question and you nod your head, I don't know that you're nodding your head. So remember that you got to say something back to me, you know. And each slide I'm going to ask you, are you still awake, you know? You didn't go to sleep on me or you didn't head out on me, did you? Okay. And everything okay with that? Yeah, great. So I want you to remember this. And if at any point during the presentation you have a question, just raise your hand. So then I stop, you know, and they always go, what do you mean? Thought you couldn't see me. And he said, then we all have a chuckle and we go into it. You know what? That's a good, nice way to kind of impress on them. I'm going to want you involved in the presentation. The presentation's job is to keep you on track and to make sure you're covering all the points. So do me a favor. Don't sit and read the slides when you're giving the presentation. The purpose of the slides is to make sure that your client, if their mind's going faster than you're talking, has something to read. Okay? So it's their job to read the slides, not yours. Your job is to tell the story. Okay? Make sure that you're covering the points that are listed in that slide, but not by sitting there and reading it, because then the client will go, why didn't you send me the presentation? Let me read it. Okay? So don't read the slides, tell your story. Then make sure that you're grouping. Okay? You know, I remember trying to think of who the guy is in our industry that talks a lot about this, but I always like to listen to him speak because he talks a lot about grouping. And grouping is something that's real important when I'm selling, but probably more important when I'm doing it over the internet. I'm starting out and I'm working my leads. You know, I'm going to tell clients, you know, the thing is I've been in the industry a long time. I remember when I used to have to use a plat book to find my way out to people's houses, you know. I'd have every township in there, it'd show where every person lived, and I'd be out there driving in the sticks looking for houses, you know. Then all of a sudden they got maps come out that were kind of cool, and then they had GPSs come out. We thought we'd died and gone to heaven. And now, of course, we have the internet. And I got to tell you, most of my clients love the convenience of the internet. They like the fact that, you know what, instead of me coming out there and bothering them at their house and them having to clean the table off and them having to make sure they look nice and everything, that, you know what, they can just sit and talk to me over the phone and watch my presentation on the internet. They think that's a lot more convenient. Don't you agree? And boom. That gets the client sold on the concept of the internet sale in the first place. And again, you're grouping them together with a bunch of other people. Same thing in the selling part. You know, when I'm going over a benefit, I go, you know, most clients like the fact that this benefit is there for them at the point in time they're going to need it. So make sure you're using a lot of grouping when you're talking, especially over the internet. Okay, application is the last part of this whole deal. And there are a few different ways that you can do the application. The first way you can do the application is you can use the fillable application online. You can sign using the DocuSign website, and you can electronically file the application. You know what? If you're very good at computers, this is going to be the route you want to go. Unfortunately, most people aren't really good at computers, so they don't like this route. The second thing you can do is if you type pretty fast, you could actually complete the fillable app on the internet when you're with the client. And then when you get done, print it and mail it out to them for signatures. Or I've got a lot of agents that really aren't very good at computers. What they do is they show the fillable app to the client online. And they tell the client, I'm going to show you the application, but I'm actually going to fill it out by hand here, just like I do if I were out at your house, you know. And then when I get all done, I'll mail it out to you for signatures. Now there's a fourth way we can do this now, and that is we have the signature pages all bundled together. So we just have a 5-page deal with the signatures. And what you can do is show the fillable app, fill it out by hand, and then tell the client as you're going through there, now I'm going to mail you the signature pages when we're done here. And you can, I'm going to email them to you, and I want you to print them out, sign them, and then fax them back to me. And what you're doing when you sign right here is you're signing this. Now, as soon as you sign the signature pages to send them back to me, I'll fill you out, I'll send you out an entire copy of the application so you can review it. Make sure that you allow them the chance to review that application, okay? But any of these ways will work very well in completing the application out there. Last of all, if you're going to go on internet selling, the one thing you want to do is make sure you can handle everybody. And one of the problems we run into the industry a lot, regardless of who you buy your leads from, is you're buying leads out there, and as you're buying these leads, you're getting a lot of people that are sending in lead cards because one or both of the spouses aren't sure. You know, if dad had a stroke and mom's taking care of him, she's struggling with that, she's looking for help. If she gets a card in the mail and says, let us help you with cost of long-term care, of course she's filling it out and sending it in. In the past, we used to have to just bypass those people. Now, of course, we have critical care. You know, critical care is probably the greatest product we've ever seen in the long-term care insurance industry. It is the best alternative there is in the industry for any of your clients who are not insurable or are declined for long-term care insurance. I had an agent down in Oklahoma that just learned about critical care. He went out the first couple of weeks, he wrote 13 of his declined clients. And out of those 13 applications he sent in, 12 of them were issued. You know, in our career shop so far, we've been writing this thing for a few months now. I don't think we've had one client decline. You know, the beautiful thing about critical care is there's no height and weight requirements. There's no telephone interview. There's no APSs. There's no cognitive testing. The bottom line is it'll accept risks that long-term care insurance companies won't accept. And it's a great insurance contract. It's backed by a niche company, Guaranteed Life out there. And I'll tell you what, in my mind, it's the best alternative there is in the industry to long-term care. In fact, today when I'm out in the field selling, I take United Omaha because I like the cash first product. I think it's the strongest long-term care product in the nation. And I use critical care right away. You know what? I'm going to pivot right to that critical care because I know I can get my client insurance there. I know that if you're marginal or you can't get long-term care, there's an excellent chance that I can get you coverage under critical care. So if you haven't been trained in critical care, do me a favor, schedule a time for the training. Make sure that you got the consumer presentation. They have an online fillable app that takes you about 10 minutes to fill out, and it's automatically submitted to the company. Average turnaround time in underwriting is about 3 days. You know, if you're a long-term care professional today, you've got a gold mine sitting there just in your long-term care insurance declines you've had in the last year or two. Because you can go out there, they're easy to write because they know they wanted the coverage. You already created the need, urgency in their mind. You just couldn't help them. Now you're coming back and saying, I've got a product that I can help you with, and I'll tell you what, that is something that gets a yes out of them right away. So once you have the presentation, the website, what you have to do is get ready to go out there. This is all you really need to get out there and go internet selling. Remember one thing, and that is treat it just like a sale in the house. Don't shortcut anything. It's going to take you an hour, 2 hours to do a good, strong sale. Don't worry about it. Clients are still happy with the fact that they are getting a chance to buy something over the internet and not having you come out to their house. Because let me tell you something, there's a lot of people out there that are just like me. Anybody's chance of getting in my house is about zero. Okay, there's no way I'm going to have anybody come out to my house and try to sell us. But I'll tell you what, you give me a presentation over the internet, I'm happy as a lark. Okay, I like the ability to go over the internet and to look at this no matter what I look like at home. That way I can sit in my robe and listen to somebody talk if I want to. And the bottom line is, as our society and the baby boomers begin retiring out there, we're going to see that most people are computer literate and are perfectly willing to handle an internet sale. At this point in time, I'm going to open it up for any questions. But before I do that, I want to thank each and every one of you very much for coming into one of my webinars. I do appreciate it. And I do want to encourage you, if you are not contracted with Critical Care, do me a favor. Pick up the phone, call our number. It's 1-800-842-7799 and get your contracting started. I'll guarantee you'll be happy you did. Because if you're out there in the field today selling long-term care insurance and you don't have critical care, you are walking by money. The second reason is take your declines and turn them into gold right now. We're actually coming out with a program that we make. We'll come right out and say we'll buy out agents' declines. We're not expecting a lot of agents to do it because you'd be a moron to do that. You got the ability to go out and do it yourself. And I'll tell you what, this will be the simplest product that you ever sold. So thank you very much again for coming into my webinar. I do appreciate it. And this is Mark. Oh, I'm going to open up for questions. I forgot about that.
All callers are muted. All callers are unmuted.
Okay. Any questions about anything we talked about here today?
Give me your 800 number again.
800 number is 1-800-842-7799. That's 1-800-842-7799. Did you get it okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good. Any other questions?
And Mark, what's that LTC connection?
LTC Connections, Jamie Dubs runs that actually. If you just go on the internet and search for LTC Connections, it's a website that you can actually, you rent it month by month. And it's a really nice little site. It's got a lot of information about long-term care on there, very generic. I actually like the site. I think it's a great site.
Okay, now I've got your presentation downloaded. I've got everything I need to go. I just need some pictures. I'd like to get some leads from you. That's the website. What do you suggest?
Well, I'll tell you what. When you talk about getting leads, you know, everybody has their favorite sites they get leads from. But I like Scott Olson. He's been selling long-term care forever over the internet. And he says, you know what, doesn't matter what company you get them from, they're all about the same. Understand when you get a lead from any company on the internet, the chances are they're selling it to 2 or 3 agents at the same time. That's why they can get it down to a pretty low cost. There's one company in the internet right now that offers you, I think it's 33 leads to try them out. Try them. Okay? Take their 30 leads. Just remember, the minute you get them, start working them right away. Don't wait at all. Get on that phone right away or you're not going to make a sale. Because the person that calls them first has got the best chance of making that sale. And I'll tell you what, go from company to company, try a few here, try a few there, till you find one that works for you. That's the best way I found. And internet leads can be really inexpensive. You know, you can go to Sales Genie and get onto there, and that's got one, actually the cheapest way to get leads right there. So there's a lot of different online sites that'll help you out. We do have lead programs available also. You can feel free to call up and talk to your regional director, and he will explain what type of lead programs we have available. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? I want to thank each and every one of you very much for coming on to my webinar today. I appreciate it. This is Mark Randall saying goodbye, and have a great week and have a great year, you guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.